Hey everybody, this is Spoonie, and I want to take a look at some games that you may have overlooked. So in this video, we're going to count down my top 5 games that I consider to be hidden gems. Coming in at number 5 is Planet Crafter. In this game, you take control of a convict who's had their sentence commuted in exchange for terraforming a planet. If you're successful, then the company's going to keep all proceeds from your efforts, but hey, at least your crimes are forgiven. And if you're not successful, then that's not their problem. You crash land with a pod on a barren wasteland, and it's your only goal to survive and terraform the planet by collecting resources and building the infrastructure needed to alter the planet's atmosphere. This game has you scavenging, exploring crashed ships, crafting, and also has a somewhat hidden story to uncover as you realize, to no one's surprise, that those who sent you down there weren't completely honest with you. And even though it's in early access, which at times honestly shows, the fruits of your labor are really fun to see as the environment around you evolves and changes to reflect the new life sprouting on the planet. The skies will clear, lakes emerge, and if you're not thinking about those changes early on when you start to build, you may find yourself underwater, both figuratively and literally. Coming in at number 4 is Space Haven. It's basically FTL meets RimWorld in space. Kind of. This game has you building a space colony on a ship tile by tile. It's a light sandbox, and travel works similarly to in FTL, which is another great game that didn't make this list, but it's absolutely worth checking out if you haven't already. You'll travel from system to system, reacting to attacks, distress beacons, scavenging shipwrecks, fighting off the baddies, and taking hostages to sell or maybe expand your crew if you're feeling merciful. It's a fun base builder in space with challenges like agriculture, resource management, oxygen and gas issues, power, and of course, morale. While this one is also still in early access, it's quickly evolving thanks to active developers and is really shaping into one that I keep coming back to for another playthrough. At number 3, I've chosen Age of Darkness. This is a city builder meets tower defense meets Age of Empires. If you've ever wanted a survival mode for Age of Empires, then this is your game. You build up your city while trying to clear and secure new areas of the map to feed your ever-growing needs. Build static defenses and a mobile force to try and secure, head off, or outright destroy the spawns of enemies that come at you at waves at increasing intervals. This game is tons of fun. I love tower defense games and also real-time strategy, so when the two come together, they rarely disappoint. This game is easily worth the $20 price tag. For number 2, I've chosen They Are Billions. Admittedly, this one is a lot like the last, and number 2 and number 3 were kind of a toss-up for me. Age of Darkness and They Are Billions are very similar titles with a few key differences that are more apparent in the later stages of the game than they are in the beginning. I find that They Are Billions doesn't lean quite as heavily on power-ups or heroes like Age of Darkness, and it instead leans on static defenses and just massing units in order to try and survive the onslaught. This game is hard. It's really hard. It's what keeps me coming back to this title and what ultimately gave it the edge for me over Age of Darkness. If you're like me and you like to play games on the harder settings, then you'll probably enjoy They Are Billions a little bit more than Age of Darkness, but honestly, you can't make a wrong choice. And in the number 1 spot, I've chosen Song of Six. This game is the clear winner for me, easily my number 1 pick for hidden gems recently. This developer is very active on forums and with updates, but what's more impressive is the time this developer takes to make videos about not only what's being done, but how it's being done. I'll add a link to this developer's YouTube page at the top, but as somebody who has an interest in learning how games are developed, I really appreciate the time and energy this individual puts into communicating with their audience. Song of Six is basically RimWorld meets Dwarf Fortress, but on a massive scale. This game includes a variety of races which give you ample playstyles to choose from and keeps rerolls fresh and interesting. Whether it's farming civilizations that live in harmony with other races, or warmongering, isolated civilizations of slavers, or anything in between, there is a lot to unpack. You can later take your armies and conquer neighboring cities, regions, and ultimately the continent, all while reaping the tax and material benefits of those new lands. You will also need to defend your lands from invaders, especially early on before you've expanded your reach. While armies can get into the thousands, it's your equipment, supplies, and tactics that will have more impact on outcomes. There is a learning curve with this title, and while there is a tutorial, you will definitely be constantly learning new mechanics throughout your first several playthroughs. And that's it. Those are my top 5 picks for hidden gems recently. Let me know in the comments if you feel like I've overlooked one or if there's one you just disagree with. I'm really interested to know what your top hidden gems are, so let me know.